Why you'd be a useless time traveler. Nobody would understand you. If you're black and you go about like back like 150 years ago, you would probably be a slave. You know what I'm saying? Endless wars and shit. It wouldn't be nice. Everyone would think you're lying. Yeah, that too. Probably kill a lot of people just off of like eating modern food. You probably died of like that food they ate back then. Your stomach would not be used to that shit, bro. As a woman, you'd be cooked too. Oh, definitely. No, you'd be cooked for sure. Bro, that's the thing, bro. Right now, it is basically like one of the best times to live as like a human, bro. We have all new modern technology and shit. The wars we have are like 10 times, 20 times less gruesome than the shit they had before. Bro, I truly think, y'all, the reason why wars were so gruesome back then is because there was just no cameras. There was no cameras, so like people didn't really suspect or like care of what was going on until they heard the numbers after, and they're like, damn, wait, there was this many people dying? Like, I heard it was like bad, but I didn't know it was this bad. Yet there's still people saying the 80s were the best era. Dude, even like the 80s, bro, was like the wars weren't even, I'm talking about wars from like motherfucking, no, World War II had a lot of bodies. That was probably like the last crazy, like huge fucking war where like a ton of people died worldwide. After that, even the Vietnam War wasn't as crazy. Iraq War, then like anything that's happened in the Middle East, anything that's happened in like, I guess like China, Russia, anywhere, it hasn't been even close to as bad as like historic events. Anyways, let's go ahead and watch this.
You would be completely useless if you were suddenly dropped into the past. We all like to imagine that with our modern education and knowledge of history, we'd be like Ash from Army of Darkness, immediately revolutionizing society, inventing electricity 200 years early, and being hailed as a...
I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't know how to invent electricity. Bro, like if you really put like a basic electricity kit where like you get the coils to like put them together, I would have no fucking clue. I'd be cooked, bro. The thing I'd probably tell them is like, no, you can't even tell them because the butterfly effect. If you tell them one thing, it'll affect like everything. Bro, even if you try to stop like really bad historic events, you know, that may affect like something else happening where like you could, let's say, stop that event from happening back then, but in this time now, we'd be in a war. I would honestly just buy some houses in 2008, dude. Okay, we're talking about like, oh, traveling back in time like to the 2000s, which I don't think it would affect as much, you know? I am about to be a billionaire off of motherfucking Bitcoin, nigga. Bro, I'd be going crazy. I'm gonna be real, y'all. Even back then, like knowing me and how much I was like on the internet, let's say I was in my 20s back in like 2010, dude, I would have definitely had some Bitcoin I bought just because like I was, you know, on the internet, bro. I remember on Roblox and shit. I remember people that would like sell their items and shit for money, and they had to get like a certain crypto to do it. And this was like back in 2016 before like crypto was bigger, like way bigger than 2010, but it didn't really pop off. And that's when I first heard of like crypto. And I'm 13 at the time, so like what the fuck can I do with crypto? I can't buy that shit. I can't afford it. I know I would have bought some shit just because.
Genius. But the truth is, most of us would be utterly embarrassingly useless. Despite having smartphones in our pockets with access to all human knowledge, most of us can't actually do much without modern infrastructure. We know things exist, but we don't know how to make them.
Exactly. You would have to be an engineer, basically. Now, if you were an engineer, you could do a lot more. Hey guys, Tom NFG here. Did you know only half of you guys are subscribed and even less of you guys have noties on? I hate to be a burden, but you know, I really appreciate it if you hit that sub button and the little bell next to it, you know? It doesn't take long. I know you can get mixed up in the algorithm and everything. But yeah, also tune into the streams, you know? We have a lot of fun over there, I'm telling you. We have a lot of parties going on over there. Yeah, that's it, bye. Damn.
Even how they fundamentally work. So the first reason you'd be useless in the past is the enormous gap between knowing something exists and knowing how to create it. Sure, you know smartphones exist. You might even know they contain transistors, microchips, and lithium batteries. But could you actually build one from scratch? Do you know how to extract lithium from the earth? Could you create a microchip without modern manufacturing facilities? Of course not. I mean, what did Carl Sagan say about baking an apple pie from scratch? You gotta start with creating the universe. Most of our knowledge depends on vast infrastructure that took centuries to develop. We understand things at a consumer level, but not a creator level. This means that while you could tell people about amazing technologies from the future, you couldn't actually help them build any of it. Okay.
Yeah, I think like the average person, it'd just be more of like world events, like warning people, oh, this is gonna happen, this tornado is gonna happen, this natural disaster. I'm gonna be honest, if you did travel back then though, I think it'd be very dumb to talk about like war events and shit, because then that would definitely like change the future. That is a true butterfly effect, because you don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You're gonna change like a lot of shit. Not to mention they probably wouldn't believe you. Let's say you went back to like 2001, September 10th, and then you go to the government, you're like, bro, yo, a plane's gonna crash into the World Trade Center tomorrow. They'd be like, bro, what the fuck, bro? Who is this nigga? Yeah, get your ass on, bro. Me going to September 10th, 2001 and tell Kanye that he's gonna drop Peak in 3 years. Yeah, that's definitely the most important event to talk about, September 10th, 2001, bro. They would think you're the person planning it. Yeah, probably. Bro, I always think it's so crazy, y'all, how many references there is to 9/11 in media. Like, there is so many references people had where like I remember there's this one card game where they literally had a picture. It said like 9/11. It was the World Trade Center blown up. I know that one Simpsons, I think everybody's seen it, the Simpsons thing where it's like it says $9 and then it's the Twin Towers and it's like 11. It's crazy, bro. Me traveling back in time to stop Tommy cutting the fro. I wouldn't be the same though if you did that.
And then even if we hand wave the language issue, let's say you speak the language of whatever time period you land in what geographic region, but you'd still be faced with enormous cultural barriers. Modern speech is filled with references.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, me in America, let's say you took me back to the 1950s, but like, hello guys, how you doing? The first response I get is, shut the fuck up, you goddamn. That's the first thing I'm getting, bro, you know. It wouldn't work for me in America, but you know, if you white, it'll probably work for you.
Idioms and concepts that simply wouldn't exist yet. Imagine trying to explain something being like a broken record to someone who's never seen a record player, or saying something went viral to someone who doesn't understand germ theory. Our entire way of thinking is shaped by modern concepts. We think in terms of electricity, digital information, global communication, frameworks that wouldn't exist in pre-industrial societies. You'd constantly be reaching
The only help you could really do is like if you went, I would say maybe to like the 80s or 90s, you could probably have some technology help here and there. Wait, mixed would I be cooked too? Yes. Yes, in America, like mixed people, bro, if you were mixed, they was racist to your ass too, bro. If you went back to like the 1800s, you could not do shit. Like there was not a lot you could do.
metaphors and explanations that make zero sense to your audience. And that's before we even get to social norms. The way we interact with others today would be considered anywhere from bizarre to criminally offensive in most historical periods. Your casual attitude towards authority figures alone might get you imprisoned or worse.
Royal Rumble, only 37% of the under 25 support the monarchy. I feel like that's the thing with like even the government rules, bro. Because government rules, bro, used to be taken so serious. Like back then, when you heard like a senator or something, you were like, bro, what? This is a person that like represents people in a country. That's crazy. And then nowadays, bro, you just see like every fucking government employee. Nigga, you see the motherfucking president, bro? Just tweeting out at people he hates like every day, bro. And it's like, it's just like casual nowadays. You know, you don't really care as much.
Imagine saying R.I.P. Bozo to a fallen monarch in the past. I don't know what would happen to you.
They execute
The truth is, you wouldn't come off across as a sophisticated time traveler from the future. You'd probably seem like some babbling madman with no practical skills and just bizarre ideas. You know, another thing is that modern humans are remarkably fragile compared to our ancestors. We've been protected by modern medicine, sanitation, and food safety standards our entire lives. If you were dropped into medieval Europe, you'd immediately be exposed to dozens of pathogens your immune system has never encountered. Meanwhile, the locals have been
it's the same reason why if they come here and they eat like the foods with the chemicals we're used to, they're dead.
building resistance to these diseases their entire lives. You might be taken out by what they consider a minor seasonal illness. And this works both ways. I mean, you're a walking biohazard to historical populations. You might be carrying microbes that your body handles fine, but could devastate an unexposed population. Think about Columbus and all of them, and even the fall of the Aztecs and the like. Congratulations, you just became a one-person plague vector. And then there's your physical condition. Unless you're regularly doing physical, intense labor, you're probably not going to be ready for the daily workload of pre-industrial life. Farming, blacksmithing, construction.
Oh my god, yeah, bro. That's why they say, y'all, a lot of black people naturally, and even in Africa, bro, like due to like slavery throughout like how much times, bro. That's why it's much easier for like black people to get muscle and shit. You know, like through motherfucking these times and shit, bro. I mean, if you count America, like hundreds of years, or even Africa, there was slavery still going on there, even before America, like thousands of years, bro. Like the bodies naturally built muscle, and over time they adapted, and then they got stronger and shit, bro. One of my friends from Ghana, bro, this nigga deadass stopped working out for like a year, bro. He went back in the gym, bro, and he looked more swole than me in like 3 months. And like we're putting in the same amount of work, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Average 5'3" guy when lifting dumbbells. Well, that's the thing. If you're shorter, it's automatically easier just because you have like less strain on your body. Like you have to take the weights less like higher and stuff, so it's easier to build muscle. But yeah, through genetics and shit, it's easier for like a lot of black people to get stronger quicker.
All require significant physical strength and endurance that most modern humans just don't have.
Oh, and Ethiopians too. Like Ethiopians are very good at like running and stuff, like running legs, which is why I have like pretty good defined legs. No, you can't see my legs.
Something as basic as walking everywhere would be a shock to a lot of people. People regularly walk 20 plus miles a day when necessary. I mean, how's your endurance looking? You know, even traditionally respected professions like medicine would be severely limited. A modern doctor without antibiotics, anesthesia, imaging technology, or even basic sanitation would be working with one hand tied behind their back. Some of you might be thinking,
they think, oh, you got a headache? Don't worry, I'm gonna drill a fucking hole in your skull. Bro, it was so crazy that they did that. They deadass would drill holes in people's skulls though. That's insane. Why? Bloodletting, yeah, that too. I think that's what people don't understand, especially the people that are always like, what? Nah, I'm not taking any vaccines. Bro, they didn't take vaccines back then and they lived like long times. Yeah, they lived until like 50, maybe. A lot of them live to like fucking 50, bro. Nowadays, niggas live to like 90 and 100 and shit. Cause modern medicine, you fucking idiot. But hey, I mean, that's them, bro. I'm be real. I'm more concerned, bro, for whenever people say that and they're like, oh yeah, I don't want my kids to have like modern medicine and get like vaccines. Like, dude, now you're making your kid suffer for your dumbass ideology, nigga.
Well, I could teach them about germ theory or basic physics, but would you really explain it well enough to be useful? Most of us understand these concepts at the surface level based on what we learned in school. But could you derive the mathematical formulas for momentum?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I hate math. I'll be cooked. Every equation, the only thing I could do, I just have to go back to the 2000s and invest in Bitcoin. Most of them did not make it, but if you do, still struggle. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, the old people that even made it back then, bro, they were fucking done for, bro.
Could you explain exactly why hand washing prevents disease transmission at a microbiological level? Let's be honest, most of our knowledge is just awareness that something exists and not a very visceral understanding of how or why it works. The truth is that most of us would struggle severely if transported to the past. Our knowledge is built on generations of accumulated science and technology that we take for granted. We know that things work, but rarely how they work from first principles. This realization should actually give us more appreciation for human history. Each generation built upon the last, creating the foundation for our modern world, on some Avatar The Last Airbender vibes.
Now that literally is humanity though. We look back at everybody like this.
No single person, not even a time traveler with a modern education, could replicate centuries of human innovation and discovery alone. The true geniuses were the people who advanced
Yo, it's crazy, y'all, because in the future, just like how we look like back at these generations, like they were growing up in old times and shit with old technology, they're gonna look back at us like this. Just like that Avatar image, they're gonna be looking back, bro. Because in the future, we're gonna actually have like flying cars and a bunch of like crazy shit. Like, damn, bro, they drove cars once on the road. It's crazy. Or they even drove cars. I feel like we're more closer to like automatic driving cars. Because like Tesla's basically got fully self-driving. It's not perfect, but like it's up there. Yeah, we'll probably have that soon.
knowledge
In,
without
like,
having
15
Google
years.
or LLMs to help them. If you found this thought
We have
experiment,
flying cars already, yeah, but they're f***ing ass. Like, they're basically helicopters. I'm talking about, like, flying cars where, like, very non-noticeable. I've seen it before. I've seen it. They just approved one or something, I think. Like, a big project, but it straight up just looks like a helicopter.
type interesting, hit that subscribe button for more content like this.
Okay, interesting video. Damn, it only has 3K subs, y'all. Go ahead and sub up to bro. I like living in this time. I would prefer not to go back, like, 70 years in America. If you're watching on the tube, make sure to join the Discord and watch streams.
Subscribe to Tommy NFG.